MD Prepper here, making sort of a video response to Wrangler Star's video, the $10 dollar store survival kit challenge. Thought it was an interesting thought experiment. Basically you have $10 for purchase price, no tax included or required to be factored in, and you have to put together a basic survival kit for $10 at a local dollar store. 4 requirements. First, you have to be able to start a fire. Second, build some form of basic rudimentary shelter. Third, the whole kit needs to be waterproof for about 60 seconds. And finally, you have to be able to put together 2 meals out of that kit. I did a Dollar Tree store survival kit a while back, so I decided to repeat that on a much smaller scale. Cutting tool, obviously something you got to think about for any kind of kit. Obviously went for this utility knife that I already had one of for $1. Basic utility knife, slides in the lanyard hole, nothing real fancy. 7 little sections in it that you can snap off once they're dull. And it actually comes with 2 additional blades. So 3 blades for $1. It's not the best blade in the world, but for what I'm going to presume is a 72-hour kit, it's good enough. They don't actually discuss the length of the survival situation or needs, but 72 hours seems reasonable. So there's that. Fire starting. I know Wrangler Star and his wife both went for box of matches, these little Strike-On box matches where you get 320 of them for $1. That's okay, but I thought what was better and just a better way to start a fire, cigarette lighters. A 3-pack for $1. Even if one breaks, you've got 2 backups. 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is just enough. So much better in my mind for general fire starting than just a simple match. What do you do if all those basic matches get wet? You know, you can store these in various pockets and other things like that. So, moving along, some kind of container, especially for water. I already had this, so I didn't pick up another one at the store, but it's an aluminum bottle. I believe it's 750 mLs. Yep, or 25 fluid ounces. Basically, a lanyard hole here at the top to attach it to things so you don't lose it or drop it, something like that. Had this for a while in the previous kit, so I bought another, not buy another one, but brought this out, so that will be kept full of water. And of course you could theoretically put this beside the fire and boil water or something like that. So there's your water option. Moving along, cordage. Gotta worry about cordage. They did have some polycord that is decent enough, not going to rot through, but not as versatile as what I actually got. Got some cotton twine, 420 feet. Not very strong necessarily, but I can braid it together to make it stronger. Got plenty of it with 420 feet, and I can use this for fire starting. I can break this up as tinder if I need to. So a lot of uses for this. So that was a must right there. Next up, which some people might think is a little excessive, but has multiple purposes, hand sanitizer. Just the biggest bottle I could get. 10 ounces for $1 was the largest one I could find. They had smaller little individual packs, 3 for $1, little squirt bottles, but I thought this was better overall. You say this is way too much for a 72-hour kit. Yeah, probably, but it's still $1, so more is better, right? So I can use this for sanitation, keeping my hands clean, and for fire starting, especially with my tinder and my cigarette lighters. So I thought that a little overkill, but rather have too much than not enough. Moving along, we talked about building a basic shelter. Now, they used to have, and very recently had, very small tarps, like 9 by 4 or something like that. Not the biggest tarp in the world, but they used to have those at Dollar Tree. I checked out 2 stores recently and really wanted that, but could not find them. They had the grommets in them and all that to make a basic lean-to shelter or something like that. So what I went with was not the best, but it's something, is a plastic tablecloth that is 4.5 feet by 9 feet. So I could use this as the base bottom of a debris hut, overall cover on top of me, and for signaling. So multiple purposes there. It's going to be a little hard to secure it down without the grommets, but it's what I've got. So only option. So I would upgrade to the tarp, or maybe 2 tarps if I could find it. Next up, waterproofing. 60 seconds of waterproofing. I went for this storage sack for $1. It is 2 feet by 20 inches. It's a giant plastic Ziploc bag, basically. You see it right here. Handle on the top, Ziploc, etc. Watertight. I'm not going to leave that in the frame. The camera, but that's what everything would go in necessarily for carrying around and for waterproofing. And theoretically, I could use that to catch rainwater, especially off of the shelter here, or carry water from another location if it's far away to slowly boil water. So lots of options there. I don't know what the carrying capacity of that total is, but plenty. So what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 4 options left. Next up, I decided to cover, well, food. Now people may cringe at this one, not everyone's favorite, but ramen noodles, a 5-pack, beef flavored. They also had chicken for $1. You can eat these things raw. They're perfectly fine and crunchy. You can use the salt packets for flavor if you want, or you can use them to rehydrate and get your sodium levels back up if you've been sweating. So a lot of calories in this. I only have to do, what was it, 2 meals, which at a 2,000 calorie intake is roughly 670 to 700 calories. These 5 packs have 1,900 calories total, so that beats that easily. Would I necessarily carry all 5? I might not have to, but if space is an issue, I probably would. So 5 packs of ramen noodles. My next option here that I picked up covers some protein and some longer lasting energy, as opposed to your carbs and your fat here. Peanut butter. Basic creamy peanut butter for $1. This is 10 ounces and is 1,620 calories. So that is, with this and the ramen noodles, a total of 3,500 calories, or 1.76 days worth of total calories if you're doing the 2,000 calorie diet. So enough options there. I've got some protein, I've got some carbs, could theoretically put the two together. That covers my food. No real preparation necessary with either of them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One last option. I was kind of torn on this one. First thing I thought of was a flashlight, but do I really want to depend on a cheap little dollar store flashlight for an emergency situation? Didn't have any steel wool to use that battery for shorting out for fire, so didn't go for that. Not a bad idea, but I went for something that's going to last me longer and what I would consider more versatile. Went for one of these 50-hour religious candles. I've used these for a lot of years. Kind of heavy, but it's going to last. For a 72-hour kit, do I need to burn it for 72 hours? No. 50 hours is more than enough for my nighttime lighting and all of that. Also get a fire started here if I need to, you know, an alternative flame or a backup, something like that in a hurry, or just to see. Could also break this up if I needed to. I could break the glass and carve out some of the wax, make multiple candles if I needed to. I know Wrangler Star took some votive candles, little tea light candles, because he thought he had more options with the multiple wicks and all that. I'd rather take the one big chunk of wax. Theoretically, I've got some twine if I need some backup wicks, those types of things. If I can remelt this wax off and make extra candles, stuff like that, if I had to. So that's my 10-item kit. Like I said, this one I was torn on this one, but that's what I went with. So there's my kit. Here's some alternative options that I thought of. One of my thoughts was more water. He didn't include water and hydration at all in this kit. So this was 3 liters of water for $1. 6 containers, which I liked. They do have a 1-gallon jug for $1. So this is less water, but I've got 6 containers to use. So I could boil water in my metal container. Once it cooled off, refill these as needed. The 1-gallon one is easier to carry around, but if I punch a hole in it somehow, if it gets accidentally damaged, I'm out of luck. I've got 6 redundant bottles to carry extra water in here. Obviously other things you can do with plastic bottles left over as well. So that was one option I thought of, just didn't go for, picked it up anyway. Final other option was this big giant bottle of sweet tea from Arizona Iced Tea. So the bottle's not as good for using solar methods to clean out your water like you could do with those plastic bottles if it was a hot, sunny day. But this has a lot more calories in it. What is it? 8 fluid ounces per serving and 5.25 servings per container. So I believe that adds about 470 extra calories to your load up, which would give you 2 full days worth of food with the ramen noodles and the peanut butter. So there's my little $10 challenge, as you see it here, plus the little plastic bag to zip everything up in. Is it overkill? Maybe. Is it underkill? I don't know. Give me your thoughts, and I'd kind of like to see some other people's responses to this, especially just for 10 bucks. Heck, you don't necessarily have to buy the stuff, you just take the video and do it in the store. So, Just something fun to do. Hope you found it useful, or at least entertaining. MD Prepper out.